the National High Command to the province of Mpumalanga. We came to visit the family of Commander Treasure Thabede. And we said a simple thing that whilst most of us almost always accept that when people die, it is the will of the Almighty. We doubt with every bone and every part of our body that the passing away of Treasure Thabede was the will of God. Even if it was the will of God, if we had an opportunity, if there was a vote on who must live first, all of us here voted for Treasure Thabede to live now. Because he still had a very long journey ahead of him. He still had accumulated within himself the capacity, politically, ideologically, intellectually, and organizationally, to could lead not only the people of Mkondo, but the people of Mpumalanga and the people of South Africa. When we left here with the Deputy Secretary General, we had said immediately to the head of presidency and reached out to President Jacob Zuma that we think that as Umkhonto weSizwe we should give Commander Treasure Thabede a dignified send-off. And we even specifically requested that President Jacob Gedleyihlekisa Zuma should come here to Mkondo to give a send-off to Commander Treasure Thabede. And he said that he was going to come if there was no any other commitment, which is another funeral which is attending today in Kwadagwadunusa where he stays. But he said that the leadership of Mkondo weSizwe should come to convey our condolences, to express our sorrow on behalf of the membership and the leadership of Mkondo weSizwe. That is what we are here for. But the other mandate that we have as well as part of this send-off is to again convey our thankfulness to the people of Mkondo, of all the areas of Mkondo, for voting in their numbers for Mkondo weSizwe on the 29th of May 2024. Mkondo sub-region was the best performing sub-region in Mpumalanga. It actually was in the top 5 best performing, even as compared to some of the municipalities in KwaZulu-Natal. So if the 24th or the 29th of May 2024 was local government elections, Mkondo weSizwe party will be the only party without any coalition governing the municipality of Mkondo. And this, amongst others, is through the work of Commander Treasure Thabede. Do you know the movement, Comrade Phumla Magaqa, pays attention now more in a detailed form to its sons and daughters. So one of the deliberate things that we got to pay attention to is to how did we get to where we are now. That is why if you were to check even with the recent developments and leadership, changes in the leadership of KwaZulu-Natal, is to honor those that brought Umkhonto weSizwe to the success levels that it is in. It's part of the reasons why myself as the Secretary General and the DSG and the national organizer of Umkhonto weSizwe, we went to the national officials of Umkhonto weSizwe, which is chaired, of course, by the national chairperson, but in the presence of President Jacob Zuma, in the presence of Deputy President Mandlakai Sehlope, in the presence of all the officials of Umkhonto weSizwe, to say that amongst the sons and daughters of Umkhonto weSizwe, those that we think should lead at a national level must be Commander Treasure Thabede. And the national officials took a unanimous decision that Commander Treasure Thabede must be co-opted and appointed as a member of the National High Command, which is the highest decision-making body of Umkhonto weSizwe. That was through the appreciation of the work that has been doing. You will know here in the province that in November 2024, we had appointed a provincial working team, which amongst those that we had appointed was Commander Treasure Thabede. And despite its abrupt discontinuation in January, there was never a time where Commander Treasure showed some signs of being dejected or feeling like he has been rejected by the organization. He came back here to Umkhonto to lead programs of Umkhonto weSizwe. There are so many programs and activities that he was engaged in. We were not taken as the leadership of Umkhonto weSizwe to assign him a leadership role at the national level, making him the youngest member of the National High Command. Because we could see that in Treasure Thabede, you have got a leader who is a leader now and was going to be the leader for the future. There was no confusion about that. He was a well-rounded cadre. You know, when you are able to organize, you are organizationally sound, politically matured, ideologically sharp. You can articulate positions, and you have got, on top of that, a degree of humility. What more would you want from a cadre? You know, comrades, here in Mpumalanga, there is no one that can be compared to Commander Treasure Mandisa Thabede. If we were to make a comparison, it perhaps should be a comparison with Gert Shadrach Sibande, whose this region is named after. Treasure Thabede, if you were to check the history, the contributions, the bravery and the courage of Gert Shadrach Sibande, you will think you are reading the story of Treasure Thabede today. If you were to check on the manner in which Gert Sibande took up the struggles of ordinary people in communities, if you were to check that, despite coming from here in this region in the 1950s, Gert Shadrach Sibande was made to be one of the national leaders of the formerly African National Congress. He was part of those who were arrested as part of the treason trial. So in the 1950s, after the adoption of the Freedom Charter, which said that the land must be shared amongst those who work it, which said that the mineral wealth beneath the soil, the banks, and monopoly industry shall be transferred to the ownership of the people as a whole. The Freedom Charter, which said that no government can claim authority unless if it is based on the will of the people. The apartheid colonial government arrested all significant leaders, 156 leaders who ascribed and associated with the Freedom Charter. Amongst the 156 leaders that were arrested nationwide was Gert Shadrach Sibande, whose this district is named after. Because he was a formidable force whose struggles and championing of people's interest here in the East Val, it used to be called the East Val, this region, got the attention of everyone to the extent that all other leaders appreciated that here is a leader, Gert Shadrach Sibande. And that is exactly what got to define Treasure Thabede. In a very short space of time, he was already isolated to lead Mkhonto weSizwe at the national level. And the experience that he was going to amass as a national leader from an early age was definitely going to destine him for greatness, for larger leadership roles in the organization. Now, comrades, in Mkhonto weSizwe, we have got objectives, we have got definition of the character and nature of Mkhonto weSizwe. But the most important component of Mkhonto weSizwe as per its constitution is the articulation of its values and principles. You know, yesterday I was going through the values and principles of Mkhonto weSizwe. And when I was reading this and thinking about the work and the contribution of Commander Treasure Thabede, I could see and realize that Treasure was a true embodiment of all the values and principles of Mkhonto weSizwe. One of those principles, principle number one, is the principle of Ubuntu. Ubuntu. The principle of umuntu ngumuntu ngabantu. That is what defined all the work that Commander Treasure Thabede got to do. He understood that underneath that principle is a principle which again is part of Ubuntu, of honesty and respect. He was a very honest cadre and respectful. There are so many provocative things. There are so many wrong things that were said about Treasure Thabede, but he never retaliated to say anything back against those people. Even his appointment to the National High Command was objected by some of the leaders of Mkhonto weSizwe without any sound basis. And we wrote back to say, give us reasons as to what exactly is the basis of your objection. Here is a brilliant young man who possesses all these capacities, comes from your province. The national leadership led by President Zuma says, we want this young man to lead at national level. And leadership sits down to pen a letter that, not that one. And not even to say that as the leadership of the province, let's perhaps get closer to him so that we can guide and shape him, so that he can be the articulation of our voices in the National High Command. And this happens when the province is not yet adequately represented in the National High Command. This happens when the region of Hertzband is not adequately represented in the National High Command, in the provincial legislature as well. And we had said that here is a leader that must come and speak on behalf of the people of Mpumalanga to remind us of all the cries of our people. Treasure Thabede understood democratic centralism. He was defined by proper knowledgeability and meritocracy. Those who work with him, you would know that even after the elections, he is possibly the only one who wrote the most comprehensive report on the outcomes of elections here in Mkondo, outlining all the VDs to say this is what happened in Driefontein, this is what happened in each and every corner of Mkondo. There are those who either won or lost sub-regions and municipalities, have never sat down to write a comprehensive report as to what actually happened. But here is a cadre who has won an outright majority in his municipality and sits down to say, this is where we can improve. These are the lessons that we have got to pick up from all these areas. Now, comrades and members of Condolences, we have got no option in what we have to do to honor Commander Treasure Thabede. The only option is to unite all the forces here in the province of Mpumalanga. The divisions that are perceived are not divisions of ground forces, are not divisions of members, are not divisions of supporters of Umkhonto weSizwe. It's Palais divisions. It's divisions of those who want to talk about positions on top there. Yesterday we were in Kwamhlanga in Tembisilehan and listened to ground forces of Umkhonto weSizwe as to what are the issues that affect this province? What are the issues that affect your ward? What are the urgent things that we must attend to? The ground forces, the challenges of the community. Of the 21 people who spoke there, not one spoke about whether I want to belong to this faction or that other faction. They spoke about the concerns of the people on the ground. And I can tell you now, you can convene a meeting of the community of ground forces of Umkhonto weSizwe in all the municipalities in Tabachewu, in Bushbuck Ridge, in Bombela, in Komazi, in Emakazeni, in Ngangala, in Emalahleni, in Victor Khanye. You can convene the meetings in Steve Tshwete municipality. You can convene all the meetings here in all the sub-regions of Hertzibande and Dipaleseng, in Likwa and Msuka Likwa. You can convene meetings in Chief Albert Tulu municipality and say to our people, what are the things that we are looking for? They will tell you that we want our land back. We want access to better education. We want our roads to be fixed. We want jobs for the youth. They won't say we are looking for Advocate Mkhwebane or Mary Party. You will never find that on the ground. There will never be such on the ground. On the ground, people know what are the issues that they are looking for. And what must unite all of us are the interests and aspirations of the people on the ground. Not who occupies which position. Not who occupies which position. And Commander Treasure Thabede understood that very well, that the struggle and the revolution is not about which position you occupy. You can play a role in whichever responsibility and position that you have been assigned to. If you join and associate with Condolences because you want a position, then you are in a wrong organization. Some of us got to understand President Jacob Zuma very well. In what he would publicly say, in the political discussion for unification of all the progressive forces. We heard him very well. He says to us that the black majority, Africans in particular, were more than 80% of the population of South Africa. But we are still slaves and cheap laborers of the white minority. Why? Is because in our anti-colonial struggles, we fought as divided small clans and groups. There was never a battle where we fought together against colonial invasion. The colonialism that we are experiencing today, of landlessness, of a submerged culture, of a submerged everything, of no dignity at all, of looking down in our traditional systems, of looking down in our health systems, is a result that we have never fought as a unified whole. The formation of the South African Natives National Congress on the 8th of January, 1912, was an attempt to unify all black people, to resist colonialism. But there is no question now that the African National Congress has been taken over, has been captured by the white minority. That is why they advocate for their interests. That is why they see nothing wrong with giving a descendant of settler colonialists the Department of Basic Education and the Department of Land and the Department of Public Works. The ANC is no longer a fighting instrument. It's no longer a vehicle to bring about true freedom in our people. And the people of Mkondo are amongst those who have realized that early. That is why majority of the people of Mkondo have rejected the ANC. And President Zuma says that let us then constitute a vehicle that must bring under one roof all the progressive forces. Not only just progressive forces, all black people, so that they've got something to fight through. And we do not have to invent new objectives and so many things. We know that at the center of the anti-colonial, anti-apartheid struggle was the Freedom Charter, which got so many leaders imprisoned and exiled. If you go and read the Freedom Charter, you will realize that 80% of those objectives are not achieved to this day. Because the land is not in the hands of our people. There is no agricultural implements and tractors that are given to emerging farmers. Farm owners here in Mpumalanga continue to abuse farm workers. The people of Mpumalanga are not benefiting anything from the mineral resources of this province. If anything, the natural resources, including the game parks, an instrument of impoverishment, meaning that they deepen the levels of poverty amongst our people. And that is what Commander Treasure Thabede understood very well, and understood that in fighting for total emancipation, we can't be focusing on ourselves. We can't be fighting amongst each other and tell lies and organize people to go and disrupt meetings of Condolences. And you call yourself a leader. You organize people to say, that meeting that is going to take place there, when you say this, I'm going to compliment you like this until the meeting collapses. And you call yourself a leader of Condolences. And that is what, comrades, we have to confront. We said the simple task that we have is that let's go on the ground to unify our people. Let's go to the people of Tabatwe, in Mashishing, in Kraskop, in Pilgrim's Rest, and say that freedom is coming. Aye, nikaban vele bushback richa tulama shamanyeleti. Mapulaneng. Aye bazeleni kuntusheko utatisiwa umkondo wesizwe party ntsena. Ayikona nhlangano yin'wana yi nga tatisa ntshunxeko avutomini bya hina except umkhonto wesizwe. Let's go to the people of Kanyamazan, Kabokweni kwa Magugu in Bombela. Let's go to all the people of Malelan in Komati Port and say that freedom is coming. You will know, provincial organizer, that there is still a large population which are not recent immigrants in Komazi municipality who are not recognized as residents of South Africa. With their own traditional leaders, old people who have been residents of this part of the Mozambican border, they stay in Komazi. Majority of them do not even have identity documents. They are not recognized, they do not have social grants, they do not have anything. Those are the people that Mkhonto Wesizwe must speak on behalf of. Let's be at the forefront of all the struggles of the people of Emalahleni. We should have the people of Emalahleni primarily benefiting all projects that are taking place in Emalahleni. The primary beneficiaries of coal in Emalahleni must be people of Emalahleni. The agricultural project in Victor Kanye and Delmas in Botleng must benefit the people of Victor Kanye. You know, in the whole of former Kwandebele, there is nothing that looks like there was any democratic dispensation. If anything, both the municipalities of Sebisilani and Dr. J.S. Muroka are degenerating. Go to Siabusa today, go to Kwamhlanga. There were 4 young men who walked from Kwamhlanga to the legislature to demand basic things for the people of Kwandebele, but nothing got to happen and nothing will happen under this government. These are the people in the spirit of Treasure Thabede that we must mobilize. The people of Balfour and Dipale saying, need freedom. The people of Likwa, Standard and Sakile need freedom. The people of Pumula and Wesseltown, Kwazanele, Emele, and Sukalekwa, they need true freedom. The people of Sekunda, Mbalenhle, Mzinoni, And Belfast and Gowanberg, they need freedom. The people of Eliquatini in Chief Albert Lutulo municipality need freedom. The people of Vukuzake, Daha Scroll in Pixley need freedom. The people of Kwangema or of Dreamfontein here in Mkondo need freedom. The people of Tandukukanya here, they need freedom. The youth need jobs that are not given through corruption. And that is what should be uniting all of us. The conditions of our people. The very fact that we are numerically the majority as human beings, but economically we are a minority in our own country. We do not control anything. We are numerically as human beings the majority, but culturally we are a minority. On every aspect of life and measurement, we are still under the system of colonialism and apartheid, even if it's stated the so-called freedom and democracy. Comrades, don't ever be confused. And you must not doubt yourself, because when President Zuma was head of state and president, he had clear positions and drove government towards attainment of Freedom Charter objectives. That includes free education. The number of no-fee schools increased under President Zuma. The introduction of free education against his own cabinet was introduced by President Zuma. We always make a reference to the remarks that he made in the National House of Traditional Leaders in 2017, where he said that all black parties. So you know the issue of two-thirds is not only now with Condolences. In 2017, President Zuma said all black parties must unite to have two-thirds so that we can expropriate land without compensation and give it to our people. But he was leading alongside stooges of imperialism. He was surrounded by forces who serve the interest of the master. That is why even when he realized that there seems to be no life left in the former liberation movement, he got to assemble under Sizwe, which is going to bring about true freedom. Umalume said in the memorial service, and want to emphasize that if there is anyone who was involved in the death of Treasure Thabede, woe unto them. If there is anyone from Condolences who was involved in the passing away of this commander, we will find out. Even if we don't find out, your life will not go anywhere. You will never replace Treasure Thabede with anything. He's irreplaceable. There is nothing. We are not going to appoint you tomorrow to national because you played a role in the ending his life. So whatever you did was just meaningless. And the family of Commander Treasure, in the memorial service, Malume says that, comrades, there are other political parties that are watching. If you continue to be bickering amongst each other, people are going to lose faith in the organization. You must sort out your problems. What do you gain by wanting to impose yourself on anyone? How are we going to respect you if you want to impose yourself as a leader? Because leadership must be generated, must be organic, must come from the ground. You can't say, no, I'm a leader or nothing is going to happen here. Let all of us be guided with humility in terms of what is expected. To the family, to the children, to the wife, to mama, to the grandmother, all we can do, say to you now, is that it's a very difficult condition and situation that you find yourself in. Because of the faith that some of us believe in, we can say you must look up to God Almighty. You know, when he was sending the African-born Moses to go and liberate his people from Pharaoh, the question that the African-born Moses asked was, who do I say you are? Who do I say sent me to come and liberate your people? And then he said to Moses that I am who I am. So we are saying to the family that trust in him who says that he is what he is. He has got many names that define him. He is God the mighty one, which is known as Elohim. He is God the master, which is known as Adonai. He is a provider, Jireh. He is the Lord of peace, which is Shalom. He is the Lord Tzidkenu, which is righteousness. But he is also Lord Jehovah Rapha, which is the Lord who heals. So we call upon illness and the full recovery and acceptance. Jehovah Rapha to the family of the Thabede, Commander Treasure Thabede. It's difficult, it's not bearable. It's not replaceable. We are equally hurt. We are in sorrow for what got to happen to our brother. He was no ordinary leader. He was a disciplined warrior whose every action was guided by principle and purpose. He embodied the spirit of sacrifice, commitment that defines the struggles of Mkhonto weSizwe. His dedication was unshakable, and he was a force that inspired those around him to push even harder, to dream even bigger, and to fight bolder. He was a true gift to all of us. He approached every challenge with a sharp mind. He understood the tasks that were given to him. Comrades, we had said that on behalf of President Jacob Zuma, on behalf of the membership of Mkhonto weSizwe, on behalf of the majority of South Africans, because Mkhonto weSizwe represents majority of South Africans, we came to send our condolences and share the pain with the passing away of our soldier. Let's all of us pick up the spear, young and old. Let's do what Treasure Thabede used to do. I can tell you now that if we do what he was doing, there is no doubt that we are going to win all the 17 local municipalities of Mpumalanga. We are going to come back with an outright victory. Will inspire confidence. There's a lot of work that is being done in all other provinces. Because come 2026 and come 2029, Mkhonto Wesizwe is going to establish a revolutionary government of South Africa, alone without any coalition. There is no doubt about that. And we are going to join the revolutionary fighting spirit of our friends in Burkina Faso, in Mali, in Niger, who are moving faster to reverse colonialism. We are not going to take it step by step. We realized in the past 31 years that this one of moving very slowly has compromised our true freedom. When we take power now as Mkhonto Wesizwe, we're going to take our land, we're going to take our minerals, we're going to take what belongs to us. And for now, we are doing all that through democratic means. We have replaced the bullet with a ballot. And that does not mean that we do not have the capacity for the bullet. We do have optimal and maximum capacity to could remove government through a bullet, but we have chosen the ballot for now. Because there's beginning to be some shenanigans where those who are in office abuse power to intimidate people, to intimidate and threaten people with EPWP jobs. There's beginning to be tendency of preventing Mkhonto Wesizwe from existing and exercise his democratic right. But we are not losing patience because we know that we are destined for the future. We've got an appointment with the future, and that future is not very far. Come 2029, in honor of Treasure Thabede, we're going to win the whole of South Africa. Next year, already this municipality is in the hands of Mkhonto Wesizwe. What we do now is to defend it. It will not be illogical for the leadership of Mkhonto Wesizwe here in Mpumalanga to rename Mkhonto municipality into Treasure Thabede municipality. It will be the most logical